everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Rachel and I am knitting, and this is Vlogmas. If you're not familiar, Vlogmas is a thing that a lot of content creators do where they vlog or they post more in the month of December. Like traditionally, the most gung-ho approach to Vlogmas is you do a daily vlog, you show your life. I haven't done that. I've been in my craft room. Maybe as the month goes on, I will take you out of this room. In fact, I will, because next week I'm going somewhere. And actually this weekend I'm going somewhere. Tomorrow I'm going somewhere. So you get to see outside of these four walls. But before any of that happens, I want to do today's Vlogmas, and I have to play a little bit of catch up because I didn't have any episode of any kind go live yesterday. Today is, what is it? Yes, Friday, December 6th. So I have today's offering from the Scrappy Advent that Leslie made me, but I also have yesterday's offering, day 5. So just to catch everyone up, Leslie, whose handle is Knit California, she made a Scrappy Yarn Advent from her own personal yarn collection. She sent it to me and I've been opening it up, and for each day's mini skein that is in the Advent, I have been cranking a pair of socks on my Dean & Beans circular sock machine. So on day 1, I cranked these cuties with Glitz and Glitzy from Ruby and Rose's, Practical Magic from Treehouse Knits. On day 2, I cranked these with Velvet from Sorella Yarn from the Advent calendar, and then the main color is Kimbers Cozy Creations, something new from my own yarn collection. Then after that, I had another day where I did 2 days worth of Advent cranking, just like I'm going to do today. So this was for day 4. The purple contrast is Night Triumphant from Honey and Quill. The main color is Practical Magic, so I got 2 pairs of socks out of 1 skein of Practical Magic. And then this pair, I think the cutest pair I've ever cranked in my whole dang life. This was from day 4. Day 4's Advent. So this pink is called Raspberry Sundae from Ken Yarn. Jake, who owned Ken Yarn, no longer dyes yarn. So this is a really, really special colorway. And then the main color is 90s Taco Throwback from Mezzo Makes. So far in the month of December, I have cranked 4 pairs of socks. And if all goes well today, I will have 2 more to add to the pile. Now, let's talk about something a little bit before I get into it. I told you at the beginning of the month that I was not going to crank only socks for myself because I don't need 25, really 26 new pairs of socks because there's 26 Advent mini skeins in the Scrappy Advent Leslie made. But I am realizing as I'm wearing socks, like right now I'm wearing a pair of hand cranked socks, and many of the pairs of socks in my sock portfolio, my sock wardrobe, are like felting because I'm sorry, I am not going to hand wash my socks separately. I'm not going to do it. Sorry. If I were hand knitting these socks, they would be much more precious, and they still are very precious, but since I have the circular sock machine, I'm not clutching my pearls at throwing these in the normal laundry. So I do put my cranked socks in with my normal clothes, in the washer, in the dryer. They're all superwash, but after so many entrances into the laundry, they're starting to get felted, which means they're not really fitting my foot anymore. So I kind of want to take the socks currently in my sock drawer that don't fit anymore due to felting. I can still get them on my foot, but it's like, it's not a sock. It's just like a sheath that's tight. So I kind of want to make something. Like I want to cut off the heels and the toes and the cuffs and then use, basically, I would have this portion left of the sock and this portion left of the sock, which would just be straight tubes, and I kind of want to make like a patchwork pillow sham laptop case, I don't know, something, bag, I don't know. I'm not a sewist, so I don't know where my skills begin and end tackling a project like that, but I kind of want to try. So all this to say, I'm no longer averse to the idea of cranking just for myself this month, but I do want to make DJ some socks at the very least. So even if I don't totally branch out from my own feet, I will at least branch out a little bit because I will make DJ some socks. But for today, I'm going to make myself some socks, and that starts with opening days 5 and 6's Advent offerings. So let's get started. Leslie did something very, very smart when she made these little bags. She put the paper that says what the yarn is. She puts the dyer, the colorway, and where it came from in her stash. Like if it's left over from a project, if it's just a random skein she had, she puts that info on this card. But she placed the card so that there's no spoilers. Like I can't look in here and see what this color is. I have to get past the paper to know. So for day 5, I'm gonna guess this is a blue. Wrong. Very pretty though. We have, this is like a teal green. Very, very, very pretty. Okay, so I already know this is a 4-ply. And this is, oh, Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. Hoa, hoa, hoa. How do you say it? Hoa, hoa, hoa. Okay, sorry I botched trying to sing the Twilight theme, but this is Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. Hoa, hoa, hoa. Twilight themed yarn left over from a Knit e-reader cozy, which is one of Leslie's patterns. So let me do some quick research. I want to say that this is a nylon base, but I'm just going to go to Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. and look at the base information on her website. Okay, so Selena from Through the Wardrobe has a high fantasy base, which is a 4-ply. That's 100% superwash merino. She also has a Romantasy sock base, which is 3-ply, so I know it's not this, which does have nylon in it. Is it this?
Hello?
Hi, it's me, Rachel.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question for you.
Okay.
I already told her that she was going to be on camera, folks, so she knows. Okay, so Leslie, the Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co. Hoa Hoa Hoa. Is this the 3-ply Romantasy sock, or is this the high fantasy 4-ply?
Oh gosh. Hold on, let me see if I have it in my journal.
Okay.
Label.
I looked on your Ravelry and I don't see a project page for it.
Yeah, it's not on there. It's the high fantasy, 100% superwash merino.
That's excellent. Okay, thank you. That's really helpful. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
You're
bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we had like a 3.5-hour knit night last night, so I'm sure she's sick of me, which is why we don't need to linger on the phone today. Okay, thanks, Leslie. Love you. So this is a 100% superwash merino, which is similar to day 2. Since there's no nylon in this, I think that I'm going to just do the cuffs, but one of you suggested in the comments about these socks that when there's not nylon, I could do stripes, like on the leg, like, what are those called? Like crew socks? So I might try that. Who knows? But next need to open up day 6. I think that this is going to be a blue. I'm going to go back to my first guess for day 5. Wrong again. Okay, I'm really happy to see this because I had skeins of this, but I destashed them long time ago. So this, I can already tell you without looking at the card, this is Sorella Yarn, Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen on Classic Sock 2-ply, which is, I want to say Sorella's classic sock 2-ply is 75-25, but let me just confirm. But I know there's nylon in this. Okay, so this is nylon sock, not classic sock, and it's 80%, 20% superwash merino, 400 yards per 100 grams. So that means it's the same base as my 90s taco throwback in Raspberry Sunday. Okay, and this, the Hoa Hoa Hoa, is, what did I say? 400 yards as well? 400 meters. Okay, what's 400 meters? I want to say it's 437, but let's see. Yeah, 437. So this is 400 meters or 437 yards, 100% superwash merino. This is, what did I say? I'm getting all turned around. This is also 400 yards, 2-ply per 100 grams. And here's the little card Leslie included just to prove that I know what I'm talking about. Sorella Yarn, Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen. She says, you cranked this into socks for me. This will be a theme, LOL, get ready. I just had to read that backwards through the back of this. That's why I was reading it slowly. Okay, so let's head over to my yarn collection, my yarn cubbies, and find the perfect pair for these socks. But I'm already thinking something. Let's head over. Okay, actually, before we go to the yarn cubbies, I have to make a confession. I have to tell you something. So remember on day 2 of Vlogmas, I cleaned up my craft room? Well, that's not the whole story. Basically, what I did, or what I do when I'm about to start cranking, is I take all this stuff that I never put away and I put it in the hallway, and then I film Vlogmas and I crank. So I didn't really fully clean up. Sorry. Okay, I've just put everything in the hallway. So now I have room to do what I want to do. Let's find the perfect pairs. I can't get the chair over. There we go. Okay. Also, I have this drying rack in the middle of the craft room because, is this dry yet? Not quite. I'm drying my field day cardigan because when we went to my in-laws' house for Thanksgiving break, we had a campfire. So it smelled like campfire. So I washed it and now it's laying flat to dry. Okay, so let's start with finding the pair for day 5. Hoa Hoa Hoa. And what I was thinking, do I not have the cone of that anymore? Where's my cone of something new? Oh, found it. It was hiding. Okay, so I think that this would go really well with something new, which was the yarn I used on day 2. But I don't think I have enough for, because I used so much of it since I didn't use contrast color on the heels and toes. But this would look really good. So this is an option. I'll put that here. Ugh, what else? You know what I think I want to do? What if I did, let me grab it. Since I have so much left of day 2's, like I have more than I have left over of the other days, what if I did stripes and just maybe did shorties? I think I'm going to try that. I think that would look really good. So we'll try that. This will be a little bit of yarn chicken though, with the something new. But I think I can get creative and make it work. Okay, so then now we have Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen. Now, since this is a variegated and a speckled, I think maybe I should try for a solid color. But I also want to keep in mind this base. This is the 2-ply. I mean, I don't have to use the same base. I didn't do the same base on the first day or the second day, so it's okay if I don't have total consistency. Ooh, look at this. That purple kind of pops. The purple in Mrs. Patmore's kitchen pops paired with that. I really like that. Does it have nylon? This doesn't say on the base information if there's nylon, so I'm just gonna quickly look it up. Oh. Ouch. Okay, so according to the website, Gather sock is 100% superwash merino wool. That's disappointing because I don't want to use these for socks then. Dang, because this looked so good together. I do have this skein. Okay, we're just gonna make it work with this skein. Whoop! Skein of Treehouse Knits. I don't think it looks as good as the Copper Bee Goods, but it'll still be okay. So this is Treehouse Knits Bat-Free Layer on Spruce Sock, which is 90% superwash merino and 10% nylon. So that'll be the pairing for day 6. Man, I really had my heart set on that. And some of you in the comments are going to say, you should have just cranked it. Maybe that's true. Maybe I'll get to that point, but I'm just not there now. Like, I really want to have at least some nylon in my socks. And even 10% is not that much, but it's just how I'm going to move forward. So, you know the drill. First things first, when I'm cranking socks, I need to swatch. Boo! Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. Swatching is so boring, so annoying, but you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Especially for socks. You don't want a loosey-goosey sock that's not gonna fit on your precious little foot. I was gonna say precious little Tootsie. Okay, I have a question about Tootsies. Growing up, my mom would talk about Tootsies like, oh, your Tootsies are so cold, or, you know, like, Tootsie was in our household vocabulary. And I always thought that Tootsie was foot, like the whole unit of the foot. But then when I got to college, I said Tootsie. You know, you learn so much in college. You're finally living with people that, I mean, at least for me, I was living with people who weren't my family for the first time, aside from like a week at camp every summer. And anyway, I said Tootsie at one point, referring to foot, and my roommate was like, what are you talking about? Tootsie means toes. Tootsie is just toes. But I always thought Tootsie was the whole foot. So what does Tootsie mean to you? Is it a foot or is it toes? Anyway, need to swatch for my Tootsies. Okay, as I was swatching, I was thinking of what I want to do in terms of design. And here's what I'm thinking. I think that I will do today's color as the inside of the cuff, and then yesterday's color as the outside of the cuff, and then do 3 stripes on the leg where like there's a stripe of this, a thinner stripe of this, and then another stripe of this, 3 stripes, 2 thick teal stripes, 1 thick blue stripe in betwixt the 2 teal stripes, and then something new as the main color for the rest of the sock. I think that will solve my apprehension about yarn chicken, but let's just measure this and see if it's the correct width. 3.5. 3.5. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. It'll be a little bit tighter of a sock. Oh, I need to check the row gauge. Can't forget that again, 2 days in a row. That would be very bad. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so I have 11 rows per inch. So that means I basically have my measurements memorized now. 87. Okay, so I'm gonna crank 50. I'll crank 53 rows for the foot. Okay, and then because I think some of you may be wondering, why do I feel comfortable going half an inch or quarter inch smaller than I need? Because this is not super tight. Like, because the yarn is 463 yards per 100 grams, it's a fine, light fingering. So even though the tension is tight, there's still a lot of give and a lot of stretch on this swatch. So it'll be fine. It will be just fine. Okay, so I'm gonna do a 20 row hung hem. So I'll do the first 10 rows with today's color, Hoa Hoa Hoa. And then I'll switch to velvet for the final 10. For today's socks work out, because like using up all of the yarn sounds like so good. Okay, so while I'm hanging the hem, I want to tell you something. So on a couple different Vlogmases I've seen, well, I first saw it on Leslie's, of course. Basically, people are doing Q&A videos at some point during Vlogmas, and I want to do that. So if you have a question for me, I know I've told you, like, drop a question for me if you have it about the sock machine, but if you have a question for me about anything, I might not answer it if it's like a rude question, but you sure can ask it. You can leave it in the comment, or I'll put a link to a Google Doc if you'd like to ask it through there, or like a Google form. And then one of these days, I'll have a Q&A video edition of Vlogmas. I thought that sounded really, really fun when Leslie mentioned it. So, oh, also someone has been asking, did I already clarify that in this video? Every now and then people will comment on my video and say, who's Leslie? She's my best friend. She is Knit California. You can follow her on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and she's like me, super cool, and loves to knit. Okay, so anyway, if you have a question for me, it could be about my knitting, my cranking, my crocheting, my personal life, whatever you want. I would love to see what you're curious about. So right now I am hanging the hem, which basically consists of me putting every single stitch from the very first row I cranked and doubling up with it on the needles where the current stitches are held, and that basically folds the cuff in half. So that's what gives you this this part of the fabric where it's folded over. A hung hem is what it's called, but really it's not a hem, it's a cuff. But that's, I don't know, just what it's called. Maybe, is that what it's called? I think so. I feel like that's what it's called, but it's what I call it in my mind if it's not, apparently. Oh, we're really solving the world's problems here today at this Vlogmas Summit. Is it called a hung hem or a cuff? Is a tootsie a toe or a foot? Thank goodness we have this opportunity to discuss these very important topics. As I'm seeing the sock reveal itself more and more as it goes through the machine, I really don't like these stripes. They're so learning experience. Okay, I'm all done with this pair of socks. I've cranked it. I mean, I still have to take it off the machine and graft the toes closed, but you can kind of see an idea of what they look like. The stripes are so thick. So here's how much I have left of today's color on the cone. here's how much I have left of the main color, something new, on the cone, and then here's how much I have left of velvet. And I had a fun idea as I was cranking this pair of socks. It would be really fun at the end of the month to use all of the leftovers from the advent and make like a notions pouch or something. So that's another thing I can experiment with. But I just like the idea of clearing these cones and using all of the yarn that Leslie sent to me, and maybe even all of the yarn of the main colors that I used, and like putting it into a scrappy final project sounds very, very appealing to me. Some of you are going to be scandalized to know that I have not moved my Swift over, and that it's probably going to hit the plant again. But listen, I'm just mimicking the conditions that it would have in nature, with animals walking by, the wind hitting it. So really, I'm doing this plant a favor. DJ, what time do you want to leave? When do you want to leave? Okay, sounds good. Okay, so here's the deal. We are going to see Gladiator 2 today, and we're leaving in about 15 minutes. So there's not really time for me to crank this pair. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring this pair with me, and I'm gonna weave in the ends and graft the toes on the way to the movie. And then, like, if I'm not done, work on it until the lights go down. And then when I come back, I may crank this, or I may save it for tomorrow. I will keep you posted. Okay, all done with Gladiator 2. DJ is running in to get us some crumble cookies because, I don't know, it sounded good. Okay, here's what I was thinking. When I was watching Gladiator 2, I was thinking, this is ridiculous. I can't believe people watch this. Like, in real history, people watched gladiator fights, like the games in the arena. That's a real thing people watched. People watched other people kill people, and they did it for entertainment. How sick. And then I thought, I am in a movie theater watching people pretend to kill other people for entertainment. How am I any better? So some food for thought. That cookie you got.
Cookies and cream of some sort.
Cookies and cream milkshake.
Cookies and cream milkshake.
And how do you like it?
A+.
A+. Woohoo! This is DJ, by the way. He's the guy who bought me that plant. Okay. Woo! Okay, we are back from Gladiator 2. Great movie. I spilled some Nashville hot chicken on my sweater. You see that? So, I need to wash this later. But I'm gonna have knit night with my sisters shortly. And I wanna try and crank my second pair of socks if I can before our knit night. So, let's get to work. Also, it's dark outside. It's nighttime. So this video is not gonna go up on YouTube today. It'll go up tomorrow, Saturday, December 7th. So, hello from the past. Okay, let's get cranking. Oops. Okay, knit night with my sisters is done. Let me just show you. Here are my socks for day 5. The stripes are not as bad. Not as bad as I was thinking in the moment. That turned out really cute. Really, really cute. I don't know if you could hear that just now, but I'm not farting. It's my chair. Okay, and then here are the day 6 socks. Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen and Bat Free Layer from Treehouse Knits. I think these turned out really, really well. Now, I do sometimes weave in my ends as I go, and like some places, like when there's such a high contrast between the contrast color and the main color, you can see that Mrs. Patmore's Kitchen there. So that kind of bothers me. So I'll keep that in mind for future pairs. Maybe don't weave in the ends as I go. But that's all for today. I am going to be vlogging tomorrow. Like when you watch this, if this goes live on YouTube on Saturday, I'll be having the time of my life with Dion in New Orleans. I mean, we won't be like doing anything, you know, debauchery, New Orleans, drinking, whatever. We're gonna go to a yarn store and have lunch. So it'll be super fun. But another pair of socks down. Thank you so much for watching Vlogmas, and I hope to see you back here. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And that's my cue. It's time for bed. Bye.